Alright, thank you Michael and Lucy for being here today. Our minute taker for today is Andrew. The date today is the 5th of May and the time is 10:31 a.m. I've called this meeting to discuss the conflict that went on in the lunchroom late last week. I trust, Michael and Lucy, that you have both had time to read over the agenda for this meeting and the documents I had sent to your offices. Now, I would like to briefly talk about the initial conflict. I need you to both understand that it is not advisable to have a conflict in front of many of your fellow co-workers. If you felt like you needed to discuss the issue right at that moment, you may have wanted to leave the lunchroom and discuss in a more appropriate place. Now, I want you to both tell your side of the story as you remember it. I would like you to take the floor one at a time, making sure you speak in an appropriate professional manner. You can decide between yourselves who is going to take the floor first.
Well,
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Okay, since we can't decide for ourselves who's going to take the floor first, I would like Lucy to take the floor first. And remember, Lucy, we're speaking in a professional manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I've actually written down some notes that I'd like to look on. Okay, so I'd like to start off by saying on the 1st of May, I was overseeing many different projects and I was feeling overwhelmed as it was. When I finally got a lunch break at 1:30, I went into the lunchroom to have a quick break before heading back to work. This is when Michael approached me and he seemed to have, well, for me personally, he seemed to have an angry demeanour.
I did not. I just wanted to talk to you.
Michael, you'll get the floor soon. Lucy, please try to keep emotions out of this story.
Sorry, Chairman. As I was saying, Michael approached me and asked me about looking over the gross or serious misconduct policy. I explained to him that I had been overseeing many other projects and I didn't consider this project as, personally, I didn't see it as a priority at this point. Michael explained to me that he thinks that the business was at risk if I did not review the policy. He also said that he believed that there were staff members who were stealing from the petty cash. He said that he wants to see the policy changed to identify the stealing of the petty cash as a gross and serious misconduct. So the staff who do steal from the petty cash will be terminated from their employment. I told Michael that it is a function of the financial management to be put in place the procedures, policies and monitoring that will prevent such small, discrete staff indiscrepancies. I asked him if he could prove if any of this was actually happening. I really don't believe I should invest my time in reviewing the policy based on one person's unfounded suspicions.
Lucy, do you have any more to add?
After this incident is when I sent you the email to raise my complaint.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. Now, Michael, now that you're ready yourself to take the floor, I want you to keep in mind that you're to keep a professional and appropriate manner.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have written my report on the incident and I would just like to read that now. Last week, before the argument took place, I was going to retrieve some cash from the petty cash supply box to reimburse one of the staff for buying a new stapler. I noticed that there was $100 logged in that was in the petty cash box. When I counted the money, there was only $88 left. I thought something was fishy was going on with it, so I investigated a little further and noticed that even though the box kept being topped up, there was money going missing that was not logged. Only about $5 to $20 at a time. When I approached Lucy about the issue, she seemed to just dismiss the problem as not important. I knew that if the issue continued to happen, the company would lose more money. The issue was important in my eyes. I believe that the policy should be reviewed because it is too vague. It should include that if any staff are taking from the petty cash supplies, they should be fired on the spot. I knew when I asked Lucy to look into it that she was very busy with all the other projects that she was overseeing. I thought though, when I asked her, that she would be willing to at least take it under consideration. When she told me that it was the function of the financial management to manage such small staff indiscretions, I took that as an offence to my work. When she asked me if I could even prove that it was happening in the workplace, that's when I started to get very upset. She kept saying that she wasn't going to spend her time reviewing a policy because of unfounded suspicions. She wouldn't accept that I'd already found evidence of it happening in the workplace. I left the lunchroom immediately after the conversation and went out to go and get lunch from the cafe downstairs.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Lucy, for telling your side of the story. It seems that the two stories match up. Now, one of the issues here that's been raised is that petty cash is being stolen from the company and that the gross serious misconduct policy doesn't cover what should happen to a staff member that does steal from the company. First off, we will be discussing the updating of the gross and serious misconduct policy. In this policy, it states that an instant dismissal for gross or very serious misconduct is possible depending on the facts involved. It is important for management to investigate the alleged offence thoroughly, including talking to any witnesses, if any. So, Michael, have you done that?
No, I haven't talked to any possible witnesses. To be honest, I didn't really know where to begin.
Okay, so I would recommend that you start by looking at those who have logged taking money out of the petty cash box. And we also don't know who has taken the money out of the box, so we can't make any allegations until we have a few witnesses. It says in the policy that if the staff member involved is found to be doing the wrong thing, they could be dismissed or terminated from their employment if the management finds that to be necessary. Now, looking at this policy, how do you think it should be updated, Michael?
I honestly think it should be updated to specifically say that taking money out of the petty cash is a serious offence and will be handled with termination of employment.
Okay, so do you think that we should have a whole list of offences such as abuse in the workplace as well as any other offences you deem necessary to list?
I agree. I think it is a good idea to list the offences that will end up in a termination. That way people don't think they are receiving an unfair dismissal. If we list all the possible offences and misconduct, people will not have a chance to say that they've done nothing wrong.
Okay, yeah. Take note that we will have a meeting to discuss what kind of offences we should put on the list. We will start planning for the meeting to happen in 2 weeks and we'll have all management team at that meeting. Okay, now are we all happy with the resolution of that item?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Moving on to the next item of business, the stealing of petty cash. Michael, this seems to be your biggest issue, so what do you propose that we do to stop people stealing the petty cash?
I propose that we have a petty cash custodian that oversees the distribution of petty cash, and also I think it would be good to put a lock on the box.
Okay. I think that would be beneficial. What do you think, Lucy?
I agree. I think it will be useful. However, what if the person in charge is away or sick?
Well, then there probably needs to be a second custodian or a second in charge that also has the key.
Okay.
I'm glad to see you're both thinking about this. Now, who should we put in place as the petty cash custodian? Michael, since you're the Chief Finance Officer, who would you like to nominate?
I think we should have the Chief Operations Officer as the first point of contact and myself as the second point of contact.
Well, how about you as the Chief Finance Officer be the first point of contact for the petty cash because you are in charge of finance after all?
Okay, that makes sense. But would the Chief Operations Officer still be the second contact?
Would you have a second in charge in your finance section?
I do.
Then make them the second key holder.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Lucy.
You're welcome.
We will put that in place as soon as this meeting is done. Thank you both. On to the next point of business, the function of the financial management team. Now, we have cleared up that part of the financial management team will be in charge of the petty cash. What other things do we need to clear up on that issue?
Well, in relation to the role of the financial management team, I do believe it necessary for them to set up procedures and policies monitoring to prevent small, discrete staff indiscrepancies such as stealing of the petty cash.
Alright, Michael, and you came up with a solution to the problem with your help.
Yes, but I mean, what if this happens again in the future? Another incident arises.
I think we should deal with that appropriately when the time comes.
Okay, I just thought perhaps we could deal with some of the issues now.
I see where you're coming from, Lucy, but in regards to time management and this meeting, I think we should look at the issues as they arise. On to the next point of business, which is the changing of the policies and procedures. We did discuss earlier in the meeting that we would have another meeting about updating that. I still would recommend having a larger scale meeting with the other head of departments involved. How would you guys like to go around this?
I think that we should organise another meeting with the other managers being involved and maybe postpone this topic until that time.
Yeah, I agree. I do think the meeting needs to be held soon, but yeah, it can be postponed for today.
So, yes, I agree with you both. I'll get on to that as soon as we're done this meeting. So what have we both learnt from this meeting? Michael, you go first. What have you gotten out of this meeting?
I guess in this meeting I've realised that I just can't walk up to someone and demand that they do something that I deem as important and they may not. It can be classed, I guess, as abuse or harassment if I do that. I've also realised that there are other ways of resolving issues rather than just trying to fire someone.
Very good. Thank you, Michael. Now, Lucy, what's something that you've gotten out of this meeting?
I have realised that sometimes people have problems they deem very important, even if I don't. I realise I cannot just dismiss these people and I should hear them out and try to understand them. Most of the time the problem can be solved with a civil discussion.
Well said, Lucy. Now, I need to know if there are any issues between you both, if this is going to affect your work relationship. Or
Personally, no. I feel like I can definitely put this behind me, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like it's in the past and it won't affect our work.
Yes.
Great, guys. So, is there any other business that we need to discuss?
No, not at this point, I don't think.
Not that I can remember right now, unless you want to organise the meeting for updating the policy.
I will organise the meeting after this meeting today. I just need to check my availability and everything. If there is no more business to discuss, then I will call this meeting to a close and meet up again at a later date.
Yes, thank you.